Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lucky Dog Sim Racing Truck Series here at Kansas Motor Speedway. Got 100 laps here set for you. We tried it a few weeks ago in the Gen 6, me calling it from the car. Well, tonight I'm calling this one from the truck. So while we're here on pit road, going to go ahead and go through our starting lineup. Starting first in the 777, we have Mr. Michael Pegg, and second we have the 429 of Paul Witt running a Robert Jordan tribute truck. Starting third, we have a 00 of Thomas Holder, and then myself will be starting fourth. Fifth is the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. Sixth is the 126 of Robert Hooligan. Starting seventh is the 89 of Randolph Richard. Starting eighth is the 111 of John Henderson. Ninth is the number 9 of John Held. 10th is the 042 of Estel Fields. 11th is the 33 of Gary Ragland. Starting 12th is the 43 of Sandy Curtis. 13th, the 78 of Gary Slapinski. Starting 14th is the 3 of Kendall Kraft. 15th is the 59 of Ralph Blair. 16th is the 129 of Kim Kraus. 17th is the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. 18th is the 19 of Ben Gear. 19th is the 24 of Jason Adams. 20th is the 74 of Brian Pierce, who is running Robert Jordan's paint again this evening, again as a tribute. Starting 21st is the 91 of Joel Guy. 22nd is the 38 of David Fascholtz. 23rd is Chris Hogue. Now, Brian Pierce in the 74 will be leading us on the initial start here. He'll be up there in front of the pace car, and he will head down pit road once we make it around through turn 4. Robert was more often than not a frequenter of our truck series on Thursdays. I do believe the trucks were his favorite vehicle to run, so it's nice to see that 74 up front one more time. It's great seeing the Robert Jordan tribute paint run by Paul Witt there in the 429, so we'll keep a close eye on that truck all night long. Expect him to be up front most of the night. He's very good here. Interesting start from our 78 of Gary Sapinski all the way back in the mid-pack. This is very unusual for him, especially since he is fighting so hard with Michael Pegg for the points lead here in the truck series. Two of them have been back and forth all season long. This is our penultimate race for the truck season. We will be starting our final race next week at Chicagoland. Same format as here, 100 laps, Chicagoland Motor Speedway. I will be in the booth for that race. Alrighty, we did have our pacing extended by 1 lap here. There was a little bit of confusion there what was going on with the pace car, but we've got it all sorted back out. Pace car is back out in front where he is supposed to be, so we'll go ahead and catch up to that real quick. We should be going green this time by 100 laps at Kansas. What we are experiencing in the trucks is these are like we've been experiencing for a lot of races. We've been talking about it bunch of races this season, both in the Gen 6 and the trucks, is how tight these vehicles have been handling, and it certainly is a very tight truck the longer a run goes on. But interestingly, very, very loose on starts, restarts, and if you get someone right on your rear bumper, very loose. The pace car is off as we head to the Geico restart zone for the first time. Green flag is out. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing for Robert Jordan. About an even start from the first 2 rows. Paul Witt right there on the door of Michael Pegg. Doing my best to keep alongside the 00 Thomas Holder. Was able to keep my nose right there. Thought about slotting in, but we were a little too close to be thinking about that seriously. As we send it off into turn 3, Thomas has us cleared. Paul Witt is able to is cleared by 777 of Michael Pegg. Michael is going to take this one. We are all over the rear bumper of the 429, trying to give him a solid push. We got the 00 to our inside. Go ahead and do a little bit of a lift there. Don't want to be running this thing too hard this early on. We were expecting pack racing here during practice, and that appears like what we're having. I see a bunch of 2 wide behind me. I'm still 2 wide here with Thomas Holder. Neither one of us wanting to give an inch. So I try and give a little bit of a side draft there, see what I can do about getting a nice pull from these guys in front of me. Not quite. Doing what we can to try and take this third position. It is not easy, especially with these two ahead of me, taking a lot of air off the nose of my truck. I don't have the drive off quite that I want, but we almost have the 00 cleared. We have cleared Thomas Holder as we dive to the inside of the 429 going into turn 3. We are side by side. Gonna stop him from dropping below the white line. Stop him from looking at the inside of Michael Pegg. Michael Pegg already looking in his rearview mirror, all for the 429, full of the 75. Both of us coming with a full head of steam. I'm not going to be able to clear Paul Witt here, but I'm going to be stuck on the bottom, and that's going to keep us side by side. And tell you, that's what Michael Pegg wants to see. So he's dropping down to the bottom, try and pull me a little bit, try and keep me alongside that 429. So he's going to pull Paul Witt here going down the front stretch, try and wear our tires out. This is exactly what he needs to do. See, he pulls Paul through 1 and 2, pulls me through 3 and 4, but here we are right up to his bumper. We'll see how long this pays off. But he's doing everything he needs to. We are wearing our stuff out side by side behind him. It looks like we are able to get to the inside of the 777 of Michael Pegg. Paul Witt's going to get behind him, give him a nice push going down the front stretch here. Michael will clear us before we get to turn 1. Not certain if he'll be able to get down, cover the low side. Not quite. As we continue to dive it here on the inside. Michael giving us a little bit of a pinch there. As we're also getting a side draft from the 429 of Paul Witt. As these two working together so very well, I think maybe we want to go ahead and let them go. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to drop in behind the 429 of Paul Witt. We've let the 429 and the 777 know that we are here. 00 of Thomas Holder sticking it right there with us. We're going to go ahead and we're going to keep it here on the low side. So we're going to get good runs through the corners right up to these guys' rear bumpers. We're going to do everything we can to avoid challenging too much here. So both these guys run to the bottom. We're going to go ahead and we're going to run to the top. We're just going to stay up here, get in this clean air. Those two work together to keep me behind, so I'm going to let them fight it out. So almost had contact between the 777 and the 429. 777 had to get out of it a little bit. That forces us to his inside. Looks like he may have had a little bit of a brush with the wall there on the turn 2 exit. As we send it in hard here into turn 3, we'll be able to clear the 777 here. Try and get a good pull from the 429. Michael Pegg wants to go to the inside. We'll let him have it. We'll run just this little bit higher here in turn 1 and 2. We'll run the middle lane. The same thing to him he did to us. Give him a little bit of a pinch down there. Get a nice pull from the 429 of Paul Witt. Think about what we want to do. Paul really likes that inside line. I think we're going to let him have it. Michael Pegg also very much a fan of that inside line. Paul working to keep us side by side. Now we've got the lap down car 111 of John Henderson. Looks like he may have had a little bit of an issue. We're able to get by him. Looks like everyone behind us is able to get by him. We almost had a little bit of a moment here with the leaders trying to negotiate that, but everything looks like it worked out to our favor. It is not going to be easy to pass here. Going to have to set up a few turns in advance, and if you got two guys working together, we're able to get to the inside of the 429 here. Had to lift there. This truck is really tight there on the bottom. I had to get out of it. That's going to let that 777 rocket by us on the outside. So we're going to think about what this means for the long term. Michael Pegg, usually you don't see him up here next to the wall, but that's where he is. Wonder if maybe here 11 laps into this race, this is where the speed is. We're going to take a second. We're going to watch what the guys ahead of us are doing, see if we can do that same thing. Michael Pegg going to the bottom on the 429. I'm going to try and do what the 777 did. I'm going to run here around the top, see what I can make happen. I got a monster run down the backstretch here, but I'm going to have to get out of it. I think we're just going to keep it up here on the high side while these two are fighting each other. These two probably race each other harder than just about anyone in the league. Paul Witt, Michael Pegg, these two very, very comparable in their skill levels. Paul saw what I was doing, came up, tried to take my lane. We're going to give him a shot going here down the backstretch. A little bit of a bump right there. Get out of it before we get into corner entry, because we don't want to overdrive that, put ourselves in the wall, and that might help him clear the 777. He has. Well out in front. The three of us stuck right here. Looks like this field, we weren't quite expecting this in practice. This field looks like it is, for the most part, single-filed out. Now Michael Pegg back up to the high side. He saw what I've been doing and how I was able to get those runs. He remembers what he did to me and Paul to get up here. Thinking as this run goes on, the high side might be the way to go to make speed, to set up those runs. You see I am firing down the front stretch here towards the rear bumper of the 429. I'm going to have to get out of it. I'm going to run him over. Michael Pegg is keeping it right up there at the top. Almost ran over the 429 there. So go ahead and we'll lift a little bit there. Just don't want to slide up into him. We're going to stop him from getting down where he wants to be. Force him to run up high like that. So we lift a little bit. We need to lift to set this nose. But this truck is so tight on the bottom. We're going to have to stick it up there around the top. If you have someone to your outside, it is almost impossible to pass down there. So go ahead and we push the 429 into turn 3 and 4. Not certain entirely what he's doing. And he is racing me probably harder than he's ever raced me before. Paul and I do race each other pretty hard. So we finally clear him for second place, set our sights on the 777 of Michael Pegg, but now we got the 57 of Jeff Gilmore right behind us. He's a fast guy. He ran us down. We got the Gary Sapinski in the 78. He's back there in the 5th position. Tried to keep it out of the 429 as he came off the corner, and we brushed the wall there. This is a hard-fought race up here at the front, all while that 777 of Michael Pegg is scooting away. We had no grip going into turn 1 there, 57 all over our rear bumper. This truck, if it was tight before, it's definitely running real tight now. No contact between me and the 57, just the airplane on the rear of the truck just did not have the grip that I was looking for. we're gonna have to try something a little different with how much we were racing these guys. We can't run that high line like some of these folks can, so we're gonna have to look about just running the bottom here for a while. These trucks have about 43 laps of fuel. The question is, what is everyone gonna do? This is going to be a two-stop race, that's for sure. Not a lot of opportunity really to save tires here. Well, I won't say not a lot of opportunity to save tires. There's not a lot of opportunity to save fuel here with the way these trucks are running. There is so much on throttle time. I think saving fuel, you're gonna have to save at least 2 runs, 14 laps to be able to make it on 1 tank of fuel. I'm not certain that anyone here is going to be able to do that. We'll see. Some of these guys really good at saving fuel, like the 78 of Gary Sapinski up there in 3rd place. Very good at playing that fuel mileage game, probably better than anyone else in the field at it. With how he's able to do it, I know some folks have wondered if he's got an extra gas tank in that truck, and we've watched him, we've ridden along with him before. It's just that excellent throttle control that he has just about everywhere. Things have really strung out here. There's at least half a second between each of the top 5 here. I'm currently sitting almost a second back from Jeff Gilmore myself. It looks like we're not really gaining any ground. The only person I see gaining any kind of ground currently is the 6th place car, the 126 of Robert Hooligan. He's a second back from me. He was 1.5 according to my relative a few laps ago. He is making up a lot of time, so I can tell the handling on my car has really gone away. He's making up a lot of time. 78 of Gary Sapinski doing everything he can to catch up with the 429 of Paul Witt, and that is going to be difficult. They are running that exact same line. How long can they run that line together? Right up there against the wall. It's very easy to make a mistake up there. As we've moved more towards running towards the bottom, notice that's the line that Robert Hooligan's running. And so if we can keep the distance between us and Robert that we have right now, we may be okay. I'm not entirely certain. He is still making up a lot of time on me just there on corner entry. So much time on corner entry. He's getting a nice draft pull from me going down the straightaways. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold him off. Once he gets here, we're going to have to let him go by as fast as possible. We don't want to get bogged down fighting him for 6th place, especially while our leaders are getting further and further away. You'll see the 129 of Kim Kraus coming off pit road, taking what I would assume to be scheduled service. He's doing what he can to try and make up some time. That's almost assured what he's doing. We were just able to make pit road speed. This is a scheduled stop for me. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make up some time, see what we can do about coming to pit road maybe a little bit earlier than the guys ahead of us. We can get some time on them on the track. Don't know how this is going to pay off, but we will find out as we make it to our box. 4 tires and fuel. We are down and away. Looks like we brought a bunch of people to pit road with us. Either that or these guys came to pit road before us. Not entirely certain. Our leader just hit pit road. Must saw that I hit pit road, doesn't want to give me an opportunity to make up time, and that is the best thing. They all came down pit road, I do believe, with the exception of Gary Sapinski. I'm not entirely certain. Fortunately, my relative is not seeing quite that far ahead, but we shall see how this all pans out. Jeff Gilmore on pit road, Gary Sapinski on pit road, so he must have waited a little bit. Green flag pit stops are in full swing. We're just doing everything we can to catch up to those 2 ahead of us. 777 of Michael Pegg is still way out there. 429 of Gary Sapinski is with him. Jeff Gilmore just come off pit road. Gary Sapinski coming off pit road about a second ahead of us. See if we can get to the back bumper. That's 78, and see if we can push him towards the front. It is going to be a monumental task. Gary Sapinski and I turning almost identical lap times right now as we try and catch the 429 and the 777. Not certain we'll get there. We'll see how this goes. We still have 64 laps left in this race. We made up a lot of time, at least on the 78 of Gary Sapinski, just there on pit road. That's not something you normally see. You see the 777 and the 429 fighting side by side. This is what the 78 and I want to see. Want to see them fighting each other. That's just going to wear their tires out and allow us to catch up even faster. Currently, though, they are pulling away from us. 2.4, 2.5 seconds back to 2.4, still running side by side. I mean, we remember what running side by side like that did to our tires. Gary Sapinski should just be close enough to get some sort of draft pull from those two. I'm getting just enough of a draft pull from him to stay in the conversation, but not quite. He's managed to pull out an extra 1/10 of a second on me. So we're going to try and follow him here through the corner around the high side. He pulled out an extra 1/10 of a second. Those front guys still pulling away. Michael Pegg and Paul Witt still fighting viciously for the first position. How they're running, it is a wonder they are able to make the lap times that they are. I can already tell my truck's already starting to get loose. So we're going to move up to the high side and we're just kind of stay here, I think, for the foreseeable future. So we have to go to at least lap 66 before we pit, I believe. Of course, we got a rear bumper full of 57 and Jeff Gilmore, who's already shown us earlier in the run he is a fast cat in these trucks here at Kansas. Leaders appear to have plateaued. They're not really getting any further ahead of me, but unfortunately they're also not getting any closer. About 3.3 seconds out there is where Paul Witt is sitting. Michael Pegg right on his rear bumper sitting 3.1 ahead, and Gary Sapinski sitting 2.7. There goes the 57 of Jeff Gilmore to my inside. Cleared me very easy. Was not trying to fight him too much. Definitely want him out ahead of me. If he runs the line that he was running, which he does not, he immediately assumes the high lane. Thinking if he was running the bottom, I could have run the top and pushed him around the straightaways, but that is not how this is going to pan out. Unfortunately, right now, we're all just kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern. The only two really with anything much going on would be the 78 and the... So three would be the 78, the 429, and the 777 up there at the front. And they're all just kind of running single file, just waiting for tires to wear out. Sort of like what we were thinking, that top line has become the dominant line the longer this race goes on. This truck has become a handful to drive. I'm certain all the guys ahead of me are experiencing the exact same thing. Look ahead to where the 777 and the 78 are racing nose to tail. They're pushing each other very, very hard. If I think I'm having a time keeping this thing pointed in the right direction, those two have to be fighting ridiculously tight trucks as they do what they can to try and catch that 429 of Paul Witt. Alrighty, that should be our last scheduled stop of the evening, as long as we do not get a caution. We'll see what the leaders are going to do. I mean, this means we're going to be turning a few faster laps than them for a little bit. Obviously, they all still have to stop one more time. When we came down pit road, there's about 15 laps of fuel left in our truck. So that's about how many more laps they have. We'll see what they opt to do as these laps continue to wind down. 39 left in this race. Now, what may have ended up happening is we may have pitted too early. See a truck up ahead of us get into the wall and then shoot it back down the track. We were not expecting that. It was the 777 of Michael Pegg hits pit road. Looks like the 429 of Paul Witt has opted to take his service, as has the 78 of Gary Sapinski. We'll see where this puts us. We've been out for about 4 laps on fresher tires than them, running about a second and a half, 2 seconds faster. So we'll see how this pans out. I believe that is the 777 of Michael Pegg right ahead of us. So we should pass him here, but he will have fresher tires than we will, and I expect he's going to be up to speed and challenging us for the lead before too long. And this has handed the lead to the 57 of Jeff Gilmore, who we are currently doing our best to run down. Paul Witt and Gary Sapinski just coming off pit road now. Jeff Gilmore successfully able to make it to pit road. And like we expected, these fresher tires are already showing their worth. We were not really able to hold off the 429. 777 challenging to our outside. He's probably going to pinch us down really, really hard here. Nope, opts to let us go a little bit, so we're going to end up sliding up in front of him, seeing if we can get a little... Nope, he got a heck of a run there. Push for the 78. He's going to see if we can get a push from him. Too much momentum there on that high side, so we're just going to have to let them go here on the bottom. It is plain we do not have the tires to hang with these three. Looks like the 78 of Gary Sapinski's already moved up to the high side. Michael Pegg making the pass to the bottom. He'll have us cleared before the exit of turn 1. He'll get us well before turn 2. There he goes. He's set to work on the guys ahead of us. After all that should put Paul Witt back in the lead, since Sandy Curtis just came down pit road to take his last scheduled stop. And there is now that half-second gap between each of the top 4. See how the 3 at Kendall Craft affects Gary Sapinski. He dropped down there to the bottom, I guess, to try and get a little bit of a draft pull. Did not get as much as maybe he was expecting. Like he had to get out of the throttle there a little bit, though was able to save it pretty well, save that momentum pretty well. Michael now working on the 3 at Kendall Craft. Clears Kendall, looks very easy. I believe Kendall's on some older tires here. This gap between all of us is going to be very hard for those top 3 to close. They all look like they're running that high line, with the exception of Paul Witt, who's dropping it a little bit lower in the corner. And he has the benefit of being able to do that since he's out there in all that clean air. Meanwhile, behind me in 4th place, I have these lap down cars all coming through on fresh tires. They just came off pit road. They're coming to get their laps back. I'm not going to be able to hold them off, so I'm going to run high, just go ahead and let them low, and they'll be able to get past me fairly easy. And they're going to come, and we have a caution, which is exactly what we needed. Trucks like Sandy Curtis and Randolph Richard, they should be able to stay out and get their laps back. They just came to pit road a lap or so ago. That should be the last service they need. So with the 1 to go, they should be waved around unless they decide to come down pit road and take 4 tires and fuel. Although, like I mentioned, they're still on relatively fresh tires. Not entirely certain that they will have to make that stop. I expect them to be back on the lead lap here before too long, as bunch of guys behind me are likely to be. Not certain what caused that. But we will definitely be coming to pit road for tires and fuel. We cannot let those top 3 come to pit road and us not. They are going to swallow us up. Do everything we can, go as fast as we can without speeding. It's a tightrope here. So we should be restarting the exact same place we started this race. We should be restarting 4th. But, we've got, this is going to put us right back in the clutches of someone like, looks like Jeff Gilmore able to beat us off pit road there. So actually we'll be restarting 5th. So we got the 74 truck of Robert Jordan back out front. Mentioned that he was going to be doing us on the initial start. He's going to be doing us here, leading the pace truck around on this start as well. Looks like we do have several lap down trucks up there looking to get their lap back. I see that's the 3 of Kendall Craft, the 43 of Sandy Curtis, looks like the 24 of Jason Adams, and the 91 of Joel Guy, all looking to get their lap back. First car on the lead lap up there looks to be the 429 of Paul Witt, with the 78 of Gary Sapinski behind him in second. The 777 of Michael Pegg in third. The 57 of Jeff Gilmore in fourth. Myself, William McKellar, in the 75, currently running fifth. Got the 9 of John Held restarting behind us in sixth. John's really fast. We got to race against him during practice, and he and I kept swapping the position we had, just back and forth, lap after lap after lap. John's going to be a hard guy to hold off. He's probably very happy this caution happened, gets him right up here to the front of the field. And we also have the 59 of Ralph Blair there in seventh. He'll be restarting right behind me. Ralph also very, very, very fast here at Kansas. We expect that he's going to be challenging us here for a little bit before too long, trying to take that spot. And starting in eighth, we got the 126 of Robert Hooligan. We were talking about him a little bit earlier. You know, he was making some really good time. Kind of fell off there. I think he got caught in behind a bunch of slower trucks. But now that he's up towards the front, we'll see what that 126 truck has to offer. As we are one to go, we will be going green this time by. So for as long as we were running green, this is going to bunch the field right back up. And we're all hoping we're not in a breed caution situation. A lot of us, I want to say just about all of us, took fresh tires. I don't know how many trucks in the field still have a set of tires to put on their truck. I know I made my 2 stops. I took my 3rd set right there, so whatever my bet is, I have made it. The drivers behind me, I mean, everyone in front of me came down pit road. So we will see what is in store as we head back towards the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Excellent start from the bottom. Getting a good push. Michael Pegg and Paul Witt both getting a very good push going through the corner. John Held already looking to try and take that position. He's already dropped down to the bottom. 57 giving me a good side draft. As we are 2 by 2 by 2 here at the front for the lead. We were noticing these trucks can be very loose on fresh tires, so we're all taking our time here. Oh, 429 hooks the 777. Both of them racing very hard. Saw that happen right in front of us. We got tagged by the 429. There as he came down the track. Not certain what the damage looks like. All right, so we have damage. Spoke with a few of the other drivers. Sounds like it's just a scratch. So we'll see how it affects the handling of this truck. No, the 777 and the 429 both racing very, very hard there. Michael Pegg got right hooked into the outside wall by Paul Witt. And we tried to avoid it, got caught a little bit. Fortunately, we were able to get away with just a little bit of cosmetic damage from what it sounds like. So we'll see how this truck handles. you know, it may turn out that it feels like I got a parachute on the back of this thing. But it's definitely shaken up our top 5 here. Our top 5 currently being myself, the 75, William McKellar, sitting in first, and that's just dumb luck right there. The 57, Jeff Gilmore, was able to check up before he got into that caution, so he'll be restarting second. John Held in the 9 will be restarting third right behind me. Restarting fourth will be the 146 of Robert Hooligan, and then restarting fifth will be Ralph Blair. So this is really shaking up this field, and if my math is correct, we should be taking the green flag. I do believe with 84, maybe 85 laps left to go in this. So about 16, 17 laps left in this event. I do believe that is the 2 to go this time. Pit road just listed as close. Yep, we should be coming back to take the green flag on lap 85. But that's plenty of time for drivers like Gary Slipinski, Michael Pegg, and Paul Witt to get back through this field, to get back up here to the front. There is no doubt in my mind that before this thing is over, those 3 are going to be dueling it out for the win. As we take a look real quick back in the standings, Paul looks like he's going to be restarting 12th. Gary looks like in the 78 is going to be restarting 13th. And Michael Pegg in the 777 will be restarting 14th. There's a lot of trucks between Jeff Gilmore, myself, and those 3, but I don't think we've heard the last of them yet. We shall see. As we are 2 to green, we'll be taking the green flag next time by. And I must confess, this is when I am a driver, I'm at my most nervous, restarting first. Always worried about spinning the tires, missing a gear in front of the entire field, just making a complete fool of myself. I don't know what it is about restarting behind someone or on the outside, you know, restarting second. Doesn't really get to me, but restarting first feels like there's a lot of pressure that sits on you as the leader of the race to not ruin it for everybody else. Especially here right now with this Robert Jordan tribute I myself am running. I want to get this thing back to, I want to get back to the garage in one piece. So we enter turn 3, headed towards turn 4. Pace car getting set to make the move down pit road. Pace car is down. Headed back to the Geico restart zone. Did not get the start I wanted. Jeff Gilmore right on me to my outside. Got a little shot from the 9 behind. So we're up through the gears, trying to get a push from the 9 to get us down into turn 3 so we can clear Jeff. We were able to clear him going through turn 3. See if we can pick him up down the front stretch a little bit. Nope, that's not going to be in our best interest. We want him side by side with the 9, so we're going to pull John Head a little bit. Guard the bottom. John Hill, Jeff Gilmore, massive run there on the outside. I wonder if maybe that's where we need to be running. I'm not quite sold yet. Caution is out. Again, not certain what happened, where that was. So we're headed back around to try and catch the pace car. Looks like that happened here on the front stretch. If the smoke I'm seeing is any indication. So we head to catch up with the pace car. Should be here at the exit of turn 2. There it is. Let's begin checking up for the pace car. Sound like a few drivers there in the mid-pack, very, trying to. It's always aggressive in the mid-pack in any race. Sound we just had some, from what I was hearing, like we might have some netcode issues. Tower's currently looking at it to figure out if there was actually contact prior to the caution. Here we are back behind the pace car. Not certain how this race is going to pan out. So we'll probably be taking the green flag on lap 92, leaving us only 9 laps, 8 or 9 laps left in this race. And you were seeing how hard I was having to work to hold Jeff Gilmore off. He's got a fast truck. He is coming. That number 9 of John Held did not seem too pleased that he had to hold on that. On that restart, he was not quite able to get the jump he was really wanting. And then coming down the backstretch, I had my truck position where he couldn't dive low. It was very unfortunate for John. Fortunate for me, unfortunate for John. He had a heck of a run coming out of turn 2. Looked like he really could have challenged Jeff Gilmore for that second place if I'd not been where I was. We get to re-rack him and try again. From what I'm hearing from the tower, that was another netcode incident. Iracing did just have an update, and the netcode always seems to be a little bit worse right after an update. And we did have the 111 of John Henderson retire, so he's probably out of fast repairs, probably caught up in that caution. That's unfortunate for John. He had a fast truck. Same to see him get caught up in something like that. So we are 2 to green. So go ahead and we'll go through our top 5. Currently, as things sit, your top 5 is myself, the 75, William McKellar, restarting first. Restarting second to be the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. He and I fighting very, very hard here. Number 9 of John Held restarting third. 59 of Ralph Blair will be restarting fourth, and the 126 of Robert Hooligan will be restarting in fifth. Now here's the conversation. We mentioned it earlier. 777 of Michael Pegg, he's restarting seventh. And eighth behind him, the 78 of Gary Sapinski. We were talking about, there's more than enough time for them to get back up here. And they're showing their speed. They're going to be showing their speed all through the rest of these. We got 1 to go this time by, so we will take in the green again on lap 92. Counting lap 92, I believe that means there are 9 laps left in this race. Again, more than enough time for those guys to make up these positions and get back up to the front. I said it before, I'll say it again. We're going to be talking about those two before the end of this race. See if we can get a little bit of a better start this time. We missed the timing of it just a little bit last time. See what we can do about fixing that this time. We got some fast trucks all around us, and we got some fast trucks further back in the field just waiting to get up here and show us how fast they are. Pace car is off. We'll be headed back to the restart zone. Green flag this time. Much better start from me. Still got a good shot from John Held. So we have cleared Jeff Gilmore going into turn 1. Cannot open that bottom door. Got a guard against John Held there in the 9. He is fast. We've cleared Jeff Gilmore. We've got John Held behind us. We are rocketing down the backstretch. Got to guard this inside. Cannot let John get there. We're able to get there. Got the 57 of Jeff Gilmore challenging him to the high side. Do what we can to keep this bottom door shut. We cannot let John get by on the low side. He is all over our rear bumper. He knows he's got a better truck than we do. We may have to look at fighting this in a different way. He's giving us solid pushes down the straightaways. And there's the 777 Michael Pegg right there on the high side. See if we can pick up the 126 Robert Hooligan. Not quite. A lot of fast trucks behind us. 9 was able to get to our inside. We're going to have to pinch him pretty hard. Give him a little, as much side draft as we can. Not enough. 777 Michael Pegg working that high side. We're able to cut back down to the below the 9, a little bit of contact there. He tried to pinch us, was successful, had to get way out of the throttle. Caution again behind us. Pace car is behind us. We're having to check up for that. So it looked like the 777 Michael Pegg got caught up there and whatever that was. We have checked up for the pace car. Number 9 of John Held, though, just taken off. Not certain where he's going. Looks like he may be checking up there going into turn 1, realize that the pace car is all the way back here. And I think I see him slow rolling the corner up there. There's 5 laps to go right now. 429 and the 78 are here right in front of us. Sorry, right behind us. We were not at all concerned they were going to get up here. We knew they were coming. Number 9 of John Held gets in line here by, behind the pace car. So he should avoid the black flag for passing the pace car under yellow. What do we do now? We will be restarting on the outside. That's not the preferred line, but we were seeing the folks behind us making monster runs there along the outside. Wonder if that's where we need to be. John Held was running a very defensive line through turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Very defensive down the backstretch. I think the biggest thing was his defense into turn 3. Looked like he was going to run high, so we went low. He went middle, so we went lower, and then he gave us a hard pinch there. Right there in the middle of the corner. So we're going to have to think about the best way to get around this gear wrench truck. We'll be restarting on the outside with the 78 of Gary Sapinski behind us. And you want to talk about king of restarts. Gary Sapinski is so fast on restarts. It is a minor miracle when you get the jump on him coming out of a restart zone. That's exactly what we can expect again this time, is he's going to be right on our tail, probably shoving us very, very hard towards that start-finish line once we take that one to go. Speaking of, I do believe, if I'm looking at this, I think we're going to get the one to go this time by. If we get the one to go this time by, then this should be a natural green-white checker restart. And indeed, it will be a natural green-white checkered. 99, lap 99, white flag on lap 100, checkered flag at the conclusion of lap 100 is what we can expect. If we have a caution before we take the white flag, that should be the end of the race. I believe Lucky Dog only has one green-white checker. I think this would count as our attempt. I'm actually not seeing that on my screen, so this might not be our attempt. We may have one more shot at it after this. Hopefully, though, we can gut out 2 laps, bring this home. Hopefully first, but if it's, I'll settle for a podium. Pace car will be coming off the track here. Back to the Geico restart zone, hopefully for the last time tonight. Hopefully for the last time tonight. Had to lift a little bit there. I think I may have jumped the start initially. And we are hooked. Not certain what happened there. I don't know if I turned down across someone's nose. We'll go back. I'll go back and look and see just to let you know. We go ahead and look at the relative. Looks like John Held is currently in first. You guys can actually see better than me. I think John Held is your winner. Ralph Blair second. Paul Witt third. Gary Slapinski in fourth. Only a thousandth between the two of them. Thomas Holder in fifth and Michael Pegg in sixth. So we'll take a second and we'll go back and we'll look and see. I'll look and see what happened there. And looking at it, it does appear like I came down the track. I thought I was clear of the 042, and he got to my inside maybe a little bit faster than I thought he would. So that is on me. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize to the 042 Estill Fields. That is my mistake. I'll apologize to everyone behind us because that wreck was entirely my fault. So we'll go ahead and we will gather our top 3 for interviews then. All right, and I do not see our third place finisher, Ralph Blair, in the race chat here. So he may have disconnected already. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to, our second place driver. So we'll go ahead and we'll interview our third place driver here, Mr. Paul Witt. Paul, this is William in the booth. You got me?
Got you, William.
Paul, absolutely phenomenal race tonight. Probably had one of the faster trucks all night. I mean, we had that caution there that bunched the field back up. You and Michael got into it. I remember mentioning on the broadcast, 15 laps to go. Both these guys will be back up here in the top, talking about the win here before too long. And there you are in third place, caught up, no problem. Go ahead and talk us through that charge there you had to make through the field there during those last few restarts.
Well, I tell you, it was rough. I liked that clean air when I was up there, and Michael and I got racing. Some net code came out. Hate that for the both of us because we were both running really good all night long, and we had to go back to the back and come back through. And once net code happened again. It reared its ugly head, but I was trying everything I could to get this Robert Jordan truck in victory lane for him. But third place, not too shabby. I can handle that.
Yeah, podium for Robert's always what all of us are aiming for. I mean, you were running I do believe it was a Talladega race in that truck, earlier in the week, and we were all pulling for you to get there, get to victory lane, doing everything we can for Robert. Do you want to take I think out of everyone I know, you probably had the best relationship with Robert. You want to take an opportunity to talk a little bit about him?
Well, he was just a stand-up guy. I mean, we would get into races and, I would start blowing my gasket and he would calm you down. He just had that cool breeze, calm voice, that nothing really ever bothered him too much. I mean, he was a good jokester, and we used to have a lot of fun when we used to put practices up and run, and when we were running for that team championship over there in another league, and it was nice to get him a team championship like that. And I was hoping to get another one, but he's going to be on the side of my truck for the rest of the year. And I'm going to see if I can't get that man's face in victory lane and maybe get a team championship over there in another league that we're running. And, that he was really into. And, we're going to see what we can do. This whole thing is going to be, this next year is going to be all dedicated to my buddy Robert there.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we hope we know that we know you lost a friend, we know you lost a good teammate, and don't let that keep you down. You two raced very well together. It was a blast. I mean, when I was running with you two, it was an absolute blast. So
yeah, he taught us both. He taught us both a thing or two on the track that he probably doesn't even be aware of. He helping us with lines and stuff like that. We thought we had the best line, and here Robert comes by and gives us a better line. And he wasn't the fastest guy out there, but I tell you what, he had a head. He had a head for it. For the line or even just some pit strategy. The man was a thinker.
Well, we'll be pulling for you and hoping we see that truck in victory lane. Not just, I know that you had a change in job hours and not able to quite make the Lucky Dog races as often as you'd like, but hopefully see that thing in victory lane over here as well.
I sure hope so.
Well, Paul, want to take a second. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for running that Robert Jordan paint scheme. It's always nice to see his friends representing him here, especially in his family's time of mourning. So we want to take an opportunity real quick before we get too far to go ahead and let them know we're thinking about him, we're praying for him. And Paul, I want to thank you for talking to us, and hopefully we get to talk to you next time.
Hopefully. Yeah. Thank you, William, for all you do over here running, broadcasts and everything, and Brian for what he does, and Peg, and, everybody over here. It was an outstanding race tonight. Just, Netcode feared its ugly head tonight. But all in all, it was a pretty good race.
Thank you for talking to us, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Alrighty. Now we get to go ahead and talk to the man of the hour, our winner, the number 9, John Held. John, this is William in the booth. You got me?
Hey, I gotcha.
John, absolutely phenomenal run tonight. I mean, there in those closing laps, I had a lot of fun running side by side with you. One of the faster trucks all night long. I think all you needed there in the later goings there, and then you got it, was a caution to really bunch the field back up to get you back up to Paul Witt, Michael Pegg, and Gary Sapinski. Did you just get stuck behind slower traffic there at the beginning? I know you were really fast in qualifying.
Oh, I do what I do. I fell back too far. It's kind of what I do. You have to try to race your way back up. But yeah, that caution there saved me and grouped us back up again. And then I thought, nope, we got to go right from the get-go now. So yeah, I fell back too far at the start. I lost the draft of the lead group and kind of got mired back there. I was running 5th or 6th and just couldn't gain up without any drafting partners.
Yeah, no, and then once you got up there, man, you were you and Jeff Gilmore, both of you, an absolute handful to try and hold off. Both of you just rear view mirror full of gear wrench, and I'm not certain what was on Jeff's truck, but it was a bunch of gold and bronze behind me. Go ahead and talk us through those last few restarts. What were you thinking? How were you able to work your way back up to the front, take that lead in the win?
Well, a little bit of luck on not the last restart, but the one before. We got a little lucky. I think we broke from the pack a little bit and it allowed me to get in behind you. And then we rubbed a couple of times, and then I got to get in front of you there. It was just depending on the 4th and 5th place cars if they were pushing or not. And those last couple of restarts, they didn't get as good a start as the front 3. So yeah, me and Jeff worked on you for a little bit, but it worked out for me in the end.
Well, congratulations. I mean, you mentioned, you've had several third place finishes in Lucky Dog this year. I think between the Gen 6 and the trucks, trying to, run down Michael Pegg and Gary Sapinski, and tonight you got the better of them. I mean, you fell back. You said you fell back a little bit further than you wanted to, but it looks like that was the way to go tonight.
Yeah, to a point. It would have been better if I had a drafting partner. I don't know if I could have caught back up. I was really good on long runs, but I think I dropped back about 4 or 5 seconds. I can't remember. That might not have been too far to gain up. So that caution, was everything to get me right back with the guys. And then once we were with them, I could run with them. And, of course, Jeff and I worked together good, so, we did what we could to stay with everybody.
Well, you guys did more than enough to be able to run up here. Running the top. Unfortunate, Jeff was not able to bring it home in 3rd. I think he got caught up in something there with a few laps to go. So it's unfortunate for him, but good for you. I mean, it looks like once you got out front, you were able to get there and hold it and sort of run away. I mean, I know we had a caution there, but a win's a win, and you definitely earned that one.
Yeah, I think once I got past you there, I don't know if that little damage on your right rear hurt you a little bit. It might have, I don't know. Hard to say, but you guys were side by side back there, and that just was able for me to, change lines on the straightaways to, break the draft as much as possible. But once I seen that last lap, I had that big gap. I thought, they might get a big run on me, though, on the last corner of the last lap. I should be good as long as they didn't run me over, so it worked out.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of a parachute when someone gave me just that little bit of side draft. I didn't think I was able to get the speed that I needed, certainly, but I don't think that it was hindering me so much that I couldn't have won. If I could have just held you back there, but no, you had a lot of speed in that truck. Absolutely phenomenal job tonight, John.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think we rubbed once there, and that was about it. It was pretty clean. It was fun. It was really good racing by everybody at the front.
Yeah, hard racing is always fun, especially when you're around guys that you not only like but respect. Respect you as a competitor back, and I'm glad we were just able to put on a good race here for the viewers, and hopefully we get to do this again sometime.
Yep, exactly. Sounds good.
Well, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Well, again, thank you, William, for putting, with the Lucky Dog series helping out, and condolences to the Jordan family. Yep, we're all thinking about them, and just for everybody that helps us do this, this is a hobby, it's fun, and we're just lucky we get to do it.
Well, thank you, John, and hopefully we get to, again, congratulations on your win, and hopefully we get to talk to you next time.
Thank you. We'll try.
All right, thank you, and I believe that will just about do us for this evening. Just about, like I mentioned, our season finale for the trucks is next week, 100 laps at Chicagoland. Very similar track to Kansas here. Very, very fast. You can run it, pretty much flat out all the way around it, but a lot bumpier. And so we'll see how that race goes. We will have our late model stock short track series tomorrow. Xfinity Super Speedways on Saturday. We'll be back. Obviously, we take Sundays off. We'll be back on Monday with the Gen 4 series. And I do believe recruitment races for the Gen 6 series start on Tuesday. So hopefully, if you like what you see, you can go ahead and look for us in hosted to be Lucky Dog Sim Racing Tuesday, 7 p.m. for practice, 8 p.m. for qualifying, and the race at 8:05. So we hope to see you there. But I think that's it for me. Again, want to thank Paul Witt for coming out running that Robert Jordan tribute car. Want to thank all of our drivers for coming out, putting on a good show, and we hope to see you again next time. Have a good one.